one of the, obviously the best offensive team in the country, and Nate does a great job of putting his guys in position. His schemes are great. They're really a difficult team to guard from the time they get their hands on the ball. And but obviously on the offensive end, happy with the fact that we shared the ball well. I think we had 21 assists on 32 baskets, but defensively, a lot of guys. I'm proud of all those guys defensively because they can score it so many different ways with different people, and it takes a team effort. But Jonas certainly had some terrific plays in there today. Jemai Meshack, and again, they're really, really difficult to guard. But I'm just proud of the effort the guys put into it, both mentally and physically.
What allowed you all to specifically, if I can speak, have success on Mark Sears and running him off the three-point line? Alabama as a whole, just limiting them from the three-point line. What allowed y'all to be successful there?
Well, he's playing great basketball. I mean, you look at what he's done, his numbers up to this point, and again, everything that we do is a team-oriented defense. But we also, we got a group of guys that I think that they really do take pride in trying to guard the ball one-on-one, guard their man one-on-one. But they realize in this league you're playing against guys when they have space and room to move. It's difficult one-on-one. So I think that's where they rely on each other to bail them out, do different things that we do. And, we have to change ball screen coverage, knowing that everybody's on the same page or whatever it may be. But it takes, against a team or a player like Mark, it takes a team effort. It really does.
Mike, Rob, Ryan.
How enjoyable is it as a coach when you've got guys like Zakai and Jemai that you can put on a team's top scorer and feel confident that they're going to win those battles a lot?
Well, one, it's a blessing because it's very seldom do you have guys that really want to play that hard defensively, and they take great pride in it. And I will tell you, whether you're talking Santi, Zakai, Jemai, Josiah does it in his own way. Jonas does it in his own way. And I think the improvement that we've made over the last couple of weeks is Jordan Gainey's gotten better at it. Freddie's definitely getting there with it. It's just a matter of the younger guy, Dalton, he's gotten better. And I think as we continue to move forward, those guys will continue to get better. Will they catch up to those other guys this year? Probably not. But they're taking, I think they watch them, they see them in practice, they see the effort they put in every day in practice, and hopefully it rubs off. But you go back and look at the numbers and combine Santi and Zakai today. Again, I don't know what they scored, but I know they were involved in a lot of winning plays and things that they did with taking care of the ball, the assists, but what they do defensively, not only guarding their own man, but helping their teammates when they had to make some fix-it plays.
Coach, the versatility of this team, the different styles you can play, is this the first team you think you've had in a while that you could win a game in the 60s against a good team, and you could win a game in the 80s against a good team if you had to?
Yeah, and you're going to have to be able to do that different ways. Different teams are going to do different. But we went through that some in the preseason. And again, I go back to our preseason non-league schedule. A lot of thought went into it. Coach Polinsky did a great job getting us different styles, knowing that we were going to play against some teams that would try to put us in long offensive possessions and shorten the game. So, yeah, Rob, you do have to do that. You got to be able to play differently. And make no bones about it today, Jordan Gainey was a huge factor in the game, a huge factor. We knew it was just a matter of time. He came in, 4 for 7, 3 for 6, and perfect at the line. Took care of the ball really, and defensively, he's working at it really hard. But that's something that we've watched in practice, and I do think he went through a couple games there where obviously he was pressing, and because we kept telling him to shoot it, and because we watch him in practice every day. But he actually the other night against Florida, I thought he looked really comfortable, and he's had a couple that went in and out, and we just felt, again, from a coaching staff, and I think his teammates felt it too. If he could just get one to go down, it would open up for him. And for us today, it was fortunate that it came today because he was definitely a major factor in the game.
talk about being able to play different ways. What did you like about that 4-minute stretch there after Jonas got 2 fouls and you played Josiah at the 5?
Well, again, it goes back to Josiah and Jemai Mashak. We don't have a problem playing that way because we know defensively those guys are just going to, they almost relish it, to be honest with you. They like it. They want to show they can guard. And I think with Josiah today, we kept him in coverage a little bit. Normally we switch with him, but when they're playing with a 5, we changed the ball screen a little bit. But those two guys, again, they've played and guarded every position on the floor since they've been here, and they have confidence. We have confidence in them. And today, I thought Shaq did a great job when we had him actually become the rim runner, getting down there, he created a great drive for Sakai today, and that was all Jemai doing his job. And it's interesting. He loves doing it. And again, he so much doesn't show up on the stat sheet for him. And I mean, again, it seems like every coach in the offseason that talks to me about our team, they all say, man, I love Mashak. And if you watch it from, I think, the eyes of a coach, you can't help but love what he does and how he affects the game. But the same could be said for Jonas, for certainly Zakai, Santi, and Josiah. Because those guys, they just make winning plays.
So Reese, Frank, Wes, David.
Back here, Coach. You spoke about switching. How much did that switching on the perimeter help contribute on ball screens and on dribble handoffs to turnovers that were made?
Again, they play with such terrific speed. I mean, they get down there. I think they're leading the country in shots under 10 seconds. And if you don't get back and get your defense set, get that lane closed down, because they're not just, they're looking for that early three if they can get it. If not, they're going to put a lot of pressure on the rim. Very difficult to defend. And when they get into their actions, they run them with such speed. And it's hard. But, as hard as you try to play defensively and with the speed they play with, the switching has to come into play sometime. And I do think our post guys today, Jonas and even Tobey, and when they got switched out there a couple times on the guards, they did a pretty good job. And we work on it. You guys watch us practice. We have a package where we do sometimes switch all 5, but not normally. But it's something that we do. And again, I don't think our guys are afraid of it.
Coach, back here. What's it like having a guy like Dalton who can kind of take over a game, and 25 points almost feels like a quiet night at this point from him?
Well, he has that, but I could say the same thing about Jordan. Tonight I thought those were big plays when he hit those shots, and I thought they did a good job on Dalton. I did. I thought Nate had his guys ready to guard him and do some things. We talked about the other night, talked about it with him. There's going to be times he's going to have to get off of it and let the other guys play, like the end of the first half. They did a great job of guarding. Mark Sears did a great job one time doing what Jemai Mashak and Santi, and they got under him and took the ball from him. And he goes back to knowing who's guarding you and what you need to do against that particular matchup. But he's going to get better with all the different defenses that he sees. But one thing he's doing differently now, he is trying to get out in transition. I think guys are looking for him, and he's also, as you saw the other night, making more of an effort. And to be honest with you, I think he played too much tonight. I thought he got a little fatigued, and that's on me, obviously. But if we can continue to get everybody, and again, I'm proud of Josiah. He hasn't practiced since our last game. He came down with the flu and missed 2 days, and came in last night and did a little bit on his own. Came back this morning and tried to do a little bit, and proud of what he did because he wasn't feeling well. And again, I think those reps that Jemai got with that first group paid off big today. And we thank the good Lord we got a group of guys that they're a team and they want to be a team, and I truly believe they know that we can get better.
Rick, I'm guessing there's not a lot of high school or AAU teams around the country that play defense the way you want it played here. So when you're recruiting a kid, what sort of standard are you looking for in terms of athleticism or character, competitive character, to kind of fit what y'all do here?
Well, that's a really good question. I think sometimes you've got to think about recruiting. You've got to, and again, I think I've got the best group of assistants in the country, and I think they know what we're looking for. And I think when they go watch a guy, they spend a lot of time watching him from the time he walks on the floor to warm up and how he interacts with the team. And from the beginning, we watch them, and then certainly watch how they play. And I think you can watch enough games, you can see the competitive side of a player. And but when we talk about it, we talk a lot about it. But I think most young people, they want to continue to get better. Like I'm really proud of Freddie. I think Freddie is continuing to get better and better in practice, and because of that, I think he's going to be a factor coming down the stretch too. I mean, you can almost tell. I tell our freshmen, we know by the end of January if they're going to get it or not, and it's all by mindset. And I told a couple of them the other day, you guys will just determine what we need to do at the end of the year in recruiting. But we like these young guys that we got, and I'm watching Cam, I'm watching Cade, I'm watching JP and Freddie. They're all getting better, and they're getting better every day. And obviously we think it's a big part of our future, but it's just a simple mindset that you've got to buy into. And when you go against what you see us do out there, those guys can't do what they did tonight if they didn't do it in practice. They can't. And you guys watch us, they get at it. Some days better than others, but details is when we're not as sharp in practice, it gets back to details.
Rick, when you look at the box score, like Josiah had 1 point, but he also led the team in plus minus. The plus minus category to a box score, how much do you and your staff delve into that? Do you and the players talk about that? Do you view that as a really important stat, or do you think there's some overrated to it? I was just kind of curious what you think about that category.
It's interesting. Sometimes I'll ask the coaches about the analytics, but do I pay a lot of attention to it? I don't. A couple of years ago, when everybody got into analytics, Coach Woodruff, our tennis coach, asked me one day, he said, "What do you think about analytics?" I said, "Coach, I'm sure it's going to even become a bigger part of the game," but I said, "Let me ask you this question. You played against Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, and those guys." I said, "Were you ever in a 5-set with them and match point?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Well, and when Sampras is getting ready to serve it to you, what analytic did you go to?" And he went, "Heart." And that's the analytic that most counts. In a situation, again, do I pay a lot of attention to it? I don't. Not even sure I understand some of them, they're putting out there. But the bottom line is, it's effort, and how you do that, I don't know, other than what you see every day in practice. And you see players, their competitive spirit. But, and again, as the season goes on, like tonight, I mean, there's no doubt Nate used analytics on Jonas. They were doing everything they could to get him, to keep him from going over his right shoulder using his left hand. They were pushing him hard, trying to make him go back to his right. We actually told him during the game, you got to spin back, because he can do it. But, he's worked so hard on that left. So I do think that's where analytics come in with, they see how much a guy goes over his shoulder, and I'm sure there's more of them where, some coaches know that when a guy's in this area of the court, this is what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do here. So as a staff, I do have guys that pay attention to analytics. Me personally, not so much right now,
Go John Reese, Mike, that's the last three.
Hey, Coach, in the back here. Over the last month or so, every time we talk to you, you keep saying Dalton's getting there defensively. He's putting in more effort defensively. What did you think of his defensive effort tonight?
I do think he's trying. Like one time, we got lucky on an out-of-bounds play. He was just standing there. We took him out, real quick, and I'm not sure what he was thinking about. But and again, I think that's my fault, because I think he was tired, and I saw it. But when he's out there, he draws so much attention that he can open up the court for guys to do some other things. And but again, do I think we're going to get him way up there to where the standard? I know this. If we had him the entire time, he would, because he's got the ability to do it. Again, it goes back to a mindset. He wants to do it. But again, going back, question about recruiting. It takes time, just like we're talking about the freshmen. You know, in some ways, he's come in with a freshman mentality defensively because last year they played a lot of zone. But just like those younger guys are getting better, I do think he's made great strides there, and he wants to do it. There's no doubt all these young guys want to do it. It's just, it's hard. I mean, it's a hard thing to do. I mean, you go back to if you guys were here when Josiah and Santi were here, they struggled as freshmen defensively, but they continue to work physically. And I would tell you this, what Santi and Josiah and Zakai and Jemai Meshack can do, you talk about cardio toughness. When they get tired, they have a great way to fight through it. They can fight it, and they can stay there. That's the hardest part for young guys. When you hit the wall, can you keep going? And that comes with time. And I think Dalton will continue to learn how to fight it.
Coach, you spoke about Jonas being shaded, making him go to his right hand. How does he still score so many points when they're shading him like that and still get to his left hand?
Well, I think, again, what Jonas has done, he's become more physical, knowing that people are trying to beat him up, you know, pound on him. And I think he's done a better job of getting low, getting his leverage. And, you know, Jonas has a terrific second and third jump. You know, some guys can jump one time, and Jonas around the rim can go, you know, bang, 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 quick. And that's where his length is a major factor. And but some of it, too, I think he's really working hard at trying to score before he gets the ball. And but he that's what he likes. You know, for the longest time when he got here, I kept telling him, you got to go the other way with a jump hook every now and then. And so I know he's got it. But honestly, he feels more comfortable that way, you know. And think about he's right-handed, but he almost plays like a left-hander. But as time goes on, he's going to, and he knows it, he'll do it. He'll use that right side, and because I know he can do it.
Last one from Mike.
Yeah, Rick, you guys have a week off now between games. How unique is that to have that in the middle of January, and how do you plan to approach the next few days?
Yeah, you know, it really seems like, because, you know, we started conference play, it seems like late too, but we got to get guys healthy. Some of these guys need some rest just from simple fatigue, you know, so that part's good. And it's a big week for our young guys. We have got to get our young guys better, because I think all those guys are going to have to help us at some point in time. We know, you know, what we know is there's some unknowns that could pop up, but it's a big week for our young guys, and we expect these guys have played a lot of minutes to take care of their bodies and get healthy, and that will be the focus, though. But like I said, a big week for our young guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.